Hey everyone, welcome back to GameFind, and my name is Dave, and today we're taking a look at a game called DragonScales. Let's check it out. So DragonScales is designed by one of my favorite designers, Richard Lanius, and it's actually an upgrade from a game called Dragon Rampage that I love. I love this game, but the main complaint I have about Dragon Rampage is it's just way too long. And the few times that I played it recently, I wasn't able to finish it because the people had to leave, or it runs out too long. So I'm hoping that DragonScales takes that gaming mechanism and improves on it as much as it did on the actual art, miniatures, and everything else, because if so, then this game is a winner. So without further ado, let's check out these amazing components, and then I'll show you how to play and give you my opinion. Let's go. Okay, so here we have the contents of DragonScales, and mamma mia, there are some fancy pieces. Look at these miniatures. Now, I am not a painter when it comes to miniatures, but if you are, you could really go to town with these. Arcane Wonders really surprised me with these. I have played a lot of their games, and they're highly produced, but these miniatures are particularly nice. I really like this. I expect this from like Cool Mini, but look at Arcane Wonders upping up their game. These are very, very detailed and very nice and sturdy miniatures, and those are the highlight of the quality products, but there's still some good things in here, like these DragonScales. They're thin and scale-ish like DragonScales. I really like that. And there are cubes galore. You're going to have wound counters, you're going to have green cubes, you're going to have red cubes, all these different kind of cubes, and it's basically just to keep track of certain things that's going on in the game. And dice galore. Now these are smaller dice, not the usual average size dice. That doesn't bother me too much. They're quality made, and the print on them are very crisp and doesn't look like it's going to fade anytime soon. Now you see the board over there. I can't really fit it in on this shot, but it is very, very pretty, and you'll see that here soon. And then you have some linen finish cards. Every person is going to get their own deck, and it makes each player and character asymmetric, just like in Dragon Rampage, but I think it does that little more in this game. It adds a little more flair and finesse. DragonScales does, and in my opinion, we're going to say the actual components, that is a huge upgrade from the Dragon's Rampage. Now these are the treasure cards, and then you have dragon cards over there, and then you have these little circle cardboard components. They're just like first player markers and little tokens that you're going to use to keep track of the scoring at the very end, along with a few other things, but nothing too important. Those are all the components, with the exception of these screens everybody gets. Now let's go ahead and get to how to play this game, and then we'll give it a grade. Let's go. Here's most of the board. I can fit most of it in here, and I'm going to give you a gist of the game. I'm not going to go over every roll, but I have the game set up here, and the aim of the game is to get the most victory points before the game ends, and the game can end 3 different ways. It can either end if somebody takes the path all the way down this way and exit, the game would end immediately, or if somebody beats the dragon. Now these are the 3 heads of the dragon, and the way that you can beat it is knock out all these cubes. So every time you hit the dragon, you'll take a cube, and if you take all the cubes from one head, it dies. If you take all the cubes from all the heads, the dragon's defeated and the game ends immediately. Now the amount of counters on the dragon heads depend on how many players are actually playing, so I'll let you read that in the rule book. And the third way that the game can end is if everybody here dies. So on your turn, what you're doing is rolling dice, and the first player will be decided, and then the first player will roll their dice first, and it's kind of like Yahtzee. You can keep any dice you want, and you can re-roll twice, with the exception of these black emblems here. Where is it? There we go. These are the raging dragon eyes, and they lock, and that's going to be bad for you here, and I'll explain that in a minute. But you can keep any of these dice, re-roll if you want, and keep any of the dice and re-roll, and this is what we have. So once we do this, we're going to place it over here, where we're going to be dispersing the dice on which icons we actually landed on, and this will stay here until everybody rolls their dice, and they'll be putting them in here according to this. If somebody rolls more shield dice, they will move your dice down and put theirs in the first place, but if they roll equal or less, they will go in the next box, and that will continue down until there are no more boxes. And that sometimes happens if you have a whole bunch of players, and they'll continue to do that. So they'll put their shields there and their knives right here, and they'll put some diamonds right there, and every player will do that. And then once everybody rolls their dice, you will start to resolve everything going from top to bottom. So I'll be resolving my first dice here. I got 4, so I heal 3 wounds or become a protected from all wounds and thieves. So when the turn goes and we attack the dragon, the dragon's going to be hitting us, and sometimes our fellow mates can be hitting us as well. And if I have the most shields, I'll be executing whatever's here, and then go down further. It says heal 3 wounds, heal 2 wounds, heal 1 wound, and we'll resolve all those, and then move to this Dragon Rage, and then this will execute, and you will flip a card, and whatever it says happens. So I'll get 2 wounds, but I'll get a Dragon Scale, and Dragon Scales are actually pretty good. Now if one of the dragon heads is dead, this is a rampage, so this happens too. But since all the dragon's heads are alive, the dragon attacks a player with the fewest villain wounds and receives 2 villain wounds. So if this comes up, it hits that, triggers this. If a dragon head is dead, this also happens. Each player receives 1 villain wound. So that can be bad, and you could just have all the shields and have the most dragon things here and not have to worry about it. But that's what that does. This one right here, a villainy track, is for the deck. So everybody gets their own personalized deck, like I said before, and you need to get cards and use them. Now sometimes you have to pay the dragon scales in order to use the ability, and sometimes the cards have 2 abilities. This one you can use the first ability for free, but if you want to use a second ability, you may change a 3rd die. You gotta pay a dragon scale. Now I'm not going to go over a lot of these cards, but to keep it short, this girl is a vampire. She has like life tap, so she sucks blood and gets heals and hurts people. This Cyclops guy right here, he is kind of a jerk, and he messes around with all the other players. The spider lady poisons people, and she's got little green cubes that cannot be healed. So, and she's green, which is awesome. And then you got this skeleton guy, and I can't really remember, I haven't played with him much, but he has his own thing going on. So you'll be getting cards that way by getting the most villainy dice, and then you have the loot here. Now you want to get treasures, and that's what this is corresponding to. You can draw 2 treasure cards and keep 1, and it goes down and gets a little less lucrative. But treasure cards are basically victory points and or abilities. Discard this card during the flee action step. Any players who have not yet moved cannot move this round. So if somebody's really running, you can stop them with that, or you can just keep these for victory points at the end of the game. So treasures can be a swingy thing, and or they can win you the game at the very end. This is where we will resolve attacking the dragon. Now if you have the most attacks, you will then get whatever dice it says. Attack the dragon with rolling 8 dice, and there are these special black dice that you'll roll right here, and they have eyes, dragon eyes, and swords on them. So it's just like the other way. You keep what you want, reroll twice, and the dragon can hit you, and you can hit the dragon. And just like before, dragon eyes cannot be re-rolled. But why would you re-roll the swords? That was a fantastic dragon turn. So I got 7 hits, and I can take any cubes I want. And that is important because whoever hit the dragon's head separately the most at the end of the game gets a certain amount of points. Like whoever hit the red dragon head the most gets more points, and so forth and so on. But ultimately, you want to try to knock out these heads, and for every little thing here, we're getting victory points at the very end of the game. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to take these, and the screens that you've seen in the beginning of the game, we have them, and you're going to put them behind your screen because you don't want people to know how many times you hit the dragon. Now they can keep track of it if they're paying attention, but it can matter and in the end of the game. And last but not least, you have the fleeing spot. Now you'll be moving up to the roll of the dice +1. Now there's this little white dice right here, and it has a little number on it. It has 3. You can move 3, 1, 2, and so you'll roll that. Now he would move down this track here, and he would roll a 1, so he'd get 1 + 1. And each one of these spots has a little something that if you land on it, you get it. So I get 1 villain card, or you can get treasure cards. You can get attack the dice dragon with 4 dice, and so forth and so on. Heal wounds as you go on. You can still attack the dragon as you're going down this path, but if you so happen to get to the exit, you end the game and you get a decent amount of points for doing that. So that's what you'll do. You'll continue to fight the dragon, trying to kill him or get out of dodge with as much treasure as you can, get as many victory points until you reach the end of the game, however it ends. And if you die, you can still win the game. Again, if you have the most victory points, you can win. The only thing about dying is you can no longer participate and gain victory points, but if you still have a bunch from beating the dragon up, you still might win. So now we're going to go to the end scoring, which has a lot to it, but it's not complicated, and then we'll get to my opinion of the game. So with the end scoring, you're going to get 1 point per wound that you did, 1 point per dragon scale you have, 1 point per villainy card you have, and the treasure points that you have there, and you're going to get -1 point for every wound and poison wound, and then you'll get 6 points for having the most yellow, red, and blue dragon head wounds, and 3 points for having the second most. And here's where the finale happens. So if you're the dragon slayer and you're the one that has the strike, the blow that hits the dragon last, you get 10 points, and everybody else will have to evaluate to see if they're a weakling. If they dealt less damage, or if they're a coward by running away, they get less points. Now if it ends by escape, the person escapes get 10 points, and the person almost made it second closer to the exit, 5 points, and slowpoke, the Pokemon, gets -5. Now if the dragon beats everybody, you just basically count up everybody's points and see who won that way. But in my head, you basically lose, because if you didn't defeat the dragon and get out of dodge, I mean, what's the point? But that's how you play DragonScales. Phenomenal game, and relatively simple, and I would say it's definitely streamlined just a tad bit from Dragon Rampage. So let's get into my opinion and give this game a grade. Let's go. So that's how you play DragonScales. I do have to let you know that this is a review copy from Arcane Wonder, so thank you so much for your support. Really do appreciate it. It helps us get these reviews out there quick for Vi Nation and gets the word out about your fantastic games. And I'm going to say superb every positive word I can for this game, because this gets a 92 for me. Yes, this is a fantastic game. I've been reviewing quite a lot of great games lately, and it seems like my scores just hover around 7s and 9s lately. But this game absolutely warrants it. Yes, it streamlines Dragon Rampage and makes it so much prettier. The way that the miniatures look and feel, and the theme and the color of the board, everything has been upgraded. So the fact that I like Dragon Rampage, if I had to score this, Dragon Rampage, I would get it like an 82, so about 10 points less. This bumps it up 10 points more with everything that it added, and the way that it was able to streamline and add some cool new characters along the way. So now this is a game that has a lot of take that kind of aspects, so if you don't like that kind of mean aspect, you might not be a fan of this game. But this does it in a very good way, where it makes it kind of funny, kind of aggression, so you're not really too serious about it, because everybody's going to be hitting everybody, and there's dragons in the background blowing fire out of its 3 heads, and it's just a lot of chaos going on around you, but it all seems to go over so well. And I'm not a big fan of take that games, because I don't like mean aspects to games, but this one right here, it's it's my favorite because it's one of the few that execute it well, or at least that I like. Now, they are going to compare this game to Munchkin or stuff like that, and yes, there are some similarities, but it's way more than Munchkin, and it's not as mean. It adds more game, more flavor to the taste. Take that mechanism of games, and it takes one of my favorite games and made by one of my favorite designers. And Arcane Wonders is one of my most liked companies, and it just makes this a ball of fantastic fun. So I absolutely recommend this game. So if you like any kind of miniature type games that wrap up in a quick succession and scale pretty well, because it scales relatively well, I think anywhere from 4 and up, it only adds about another 10 minutes or so, but this at 3 players is what I played it at mostly, is really good. So I recommend it highly. Thank you again, Arcane Wonders, for your support. Really do appreciate it. Hope that this video warrants the fantastic support that you give us. And Vine Nation, thank you so much for watching today. If you like the video, click a like, and if you don't, click dislike and let me know down in the comments below why you do not. But until the next time that I see, I hope this video was informational, and go pick this up. This is a fantastic game. So until the next time that I see you, have a great rest of your day and a great time with all that you play. This was DragonScales, and I'm Dave, and I'm out. Bye. Miko, it's time to go. Good girl, Miko.